We have already seen these guys play superheroes on the big screen, but they never actually needed Hollywood to look superhuman because inside the square circle, some of these same superstars have pulled off feats that looks ripped straight out of a comic book. Moments that should not have been physically possible, but happened anyway, live in front of a crowd with zero room for a second take. Some were planned, some were pure improvisation. Either way, the impact was real. So, let's dive into a few of the craziest, most jaw-dropping moments WWE has ever produced, and they made us go like SmackDown, March 25th, 2005. Big Show is heading into WrestleMania 21. Booked in a sumo match against Ekibono, a legate former Grand Sumo Yokozuna. On paper, that's a mismatch. Nobody thinks Show can win. So he answered in the only way he knows how. He walks to a jeep, parked backstage, plants both hands on the frame, and flips it. Full vehicle, tipped like it's made up of cardboard. The sumo match itself barely mattered after that. 8 seconds of flipped steel set more than 60 minutes in the ring ever could. He had still lose that sumo match in under a minute, but nobody remembered the loss. They remembered the Jeep, and Big Show wasn't the only one WWE trusted with impossible weight. WrestleMania 25, April 5th, 2009. World Heavyweight Championship was on the line as John Cena, Edge, and Big Show clashed in a triple threat match. Edge walks in as a champion. Cena chasing the title back after losing it in an elimination chamber, and Big Show is over 400 pounds of weight standing between both of them. Late in the match, Cena was about to hit attitude adjustment on Edge. Instead of that, he turns, grabs Big Show, and somehow gets him up too, both men on his shoulders at once. It wasn't in the game plan, it became the moment nobody forgot from that entire show. Cena pins Big Show, title reclaimed, but lifting two grown-up men at once wasn't even the ceiling. WWE Championship. False count anywhere. One Night Stand 2007, June 3rd. John Cena vs. The Great Khali. 7'1", over 400 pound, and undefeated by pin up to that point. This match had already spilled outside the ring, and Khali was winning. He grabbed Cena and threw him onto the bed of the construction crane like he weighed nothing. That's when Cena stood back up, wrapped his arms around Khali's body, and hoisted the giant onto his shoulder from the top of a crane. Attitude adjustment straight down to the concrete. Cena became the first man to ever pin Khali. Not through size, not through power, but lifting a giant is one thing. Mark Henry did not need to lift anything. SmackDown, January 6, 2006. Steel cage match. Batista and Rey Mysterio vs. Eminem. Mark Henry's on the outside. His job is to break in and turn the match. No shortcuts, no rigging. He grabs it with both hands and starts pulling. It doesn't move until the chain finally snaps and the door swings open. There was no editing trick to fake that fight. Henry earned the nickname World's Strongest Man long before. That night, he proved it wasn't just a nickname. A year later, Bobby Lashley would not bother with a locked door at all. ECW World Championship Steel Cage match, February 27, 2007. Bobby Lashley is defending his title against Hardcore Holly, but the real threat is outside the cage. Umaga, waiting, looking for a way in. Lashley wins the match. Then he does something nobody called for. He turns, takes a running start, and dives straight through the side of the steel cage. Not over it, through it, crashing down on top of Umaga on the floor. So, there was no rigging, it's soft. In coming years, many performed similar spot, but nobody did it as good as Bobby. He hit it at sheer force, on purpose. 20 years earlier, one man made a even bigger statement. WrestleMania 3, March 29, 1987, Silver Dome, WWF Championship, Hulk Hogan defending against Andre the Giant, a man built at over 500 pounds, and up to that night, a man nobody had ever slammed. That was the whole story. Andre could not be lifted. Everyone believed it, including the wrestlers in the back. Hogan gets Andre up anyway, scoops him, plants both feet, and drives him straight into the mat in front of a crowd WWE has always called the largest indoor audience in North American history. The slam itself lasted maybe 2 seconds. The image outlasted the decade. 16 years later, WWE tried to top impossible in a different way. SmackDown, June 12, 2003. Brock Lesnar vs. Big Show. A 500-pound opponent is standing between Lesnar and the rest of that match. Late in the bout, Lesnar climbs to the top rope after him. He locks in a superplex and drives Big Show down from the top rope. The two of them hit the canvas and the ring gives out beneath them. Collapses. Steel support beams buckled. The mat dropped to the floor and both men are lying in a crater where a wrestling ring used to be. For over a decade, WWE shown that moment wasn't planned. Big Show only admitted years later it was rigged with airbags underneath. It became one of the most replayed moments in SmackDown's history. A few years later, WWE would find out what happens when one man decides to test an entire ambulance street. Raw, April 10, 2017. No match, no bell. Just a backstage segment. Roman Reigns is fresh off beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33, doing a post-win interview. When Braun Strowman shows up and destroys him, throws him through a table, drags him through the backstage area, straps him to a stretcher, and hurls him down a flight of stairs. Medical staff loads Reigns into an ambulance to get him out of there. Strowman isn't done. He walks up to the ambulance, a vehicle that weighing over 10,000 pounds, and flips it on its side, with Reigns still locked inside. Now full transparency. This one was a produced stunt rigged from the segment, but that doesn't take away what it did. In one image, WWE turned an unknown giant into a legitimate threat overnight. Sometimes, the machine helps sell the myth. Other times, there's no machine at all. King of the Ring, June 28, 1998, Civic Arena, Pittsburgh. Hell in a Cell. The Undertaker vs. The Mankind, Mick Foley. Less than 2 minutes in, both men are already on top of 16-foot structure. Nobody's supposed to start a match up there. Foley wanted it that anyway. The Undertaker grabs him and throws him off the top, straight down through the Spanish announce table below. Jim Ross on commentary screaming. Foley gets stretchered out and climbs back anyway. Minutes later, Undertaker chokeslams him again and the cell roof genuinely gives way beneath him. It's still called the most dangerous match WWE ever aired. Foley wasn't the last man to fall from the top of that cage. 18 years later, Shane McMahon climbed up there on purpose to prove a very different point. WrestleMania 32, April 3rd, 2016, AT&T Stadium. Hell in a Cell. Shane McMahon vs. The Undertaker. Control of Raw on the line for Shane. Undertaker's WrestleMania future on the line for him. Shane had not wrestled in 7 years walking into this. Late in the match, he lays Undertaker on the announcement table, climbs to the very top of the cell, and does something no McMahon had ever done. Attempts the leap of faith, a full elbow drop from 16 feet up. Undertaker rolls off the table at the last seconds. Shane crashes straight through it onto the floor below. With nothing to break the fall, he loses the match, gets carried out on a stretcher. But he walks away with something Undertaker never could have give him in the ring. Instant, permanent respect from an audience that watched him risk his body on pure instinct. Not every impossible moment in this list needed superhuman strength. Some just needed nerve. Some were planned, some absolutely weren't, but every single one left a mark that outlasted the match itself. That's the thing about WWE at its best. It does not need to be real to feel unbelievable. If one of these blew your mind, let me know which one down in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel for future wrestling deep dives. Check out my recent take on Roman's biggest loss and ranking of WWE eras. Till then, keep wrestling!